Hi, kindergartners. Happy Wednesday. Today we have our last Bible lesson for a while, right? Because you don't have school on Thursday or Friday. So take advantage of it because it's a good one. Let's begin with prayer. Now, before I run to play, let me not forget to pray to God who kept me through the night and woke me with the morning light. Amen. All right, boys and girls. So this week we have been talking about a man named Joseph, right? We've been talking all about Joseph's journey. And it's been a crazy one, right? He goes from being betrayed by his brothers to being sold as a slave. And that's where we're going to pick up our story today and talk more about what happens after he was on his way to Egypt. We talked a little bit about it yesterday through the Rhyming Bible, but we'll talk more about it today. So we left Joseph on his way on the camel to Egypt. And what happened was he was sold to a man named Potiphar, right? Potiphar had him as a slave, and he worked very hard with Potiphar. Do you ever have crazy dreams? Sometimes I do too. And God sometimes uses crazy dream, or in the Bible times, he often used dreams to tell people what he wanted them to do. And that's what happened to Joseph's story today. He was given the ability to tell people what their dreams meant. And we'll see that today. So after he was working for Potiphar, he worked so hard with him that he put him in charge of a lot of the other slaves. He was in charge of the other workers. So God blessed him even as a servant, right? And that was where Joseph's luck kind of ran out. Potiphar's wife was a sneaky and selfish person. We talked about her a little bit yesterday. She was mean to Joseph. Joseph was a good man and he wouldn't sin with her, but that made her angry and she wanted to tell lies and ruin his life because of that. So Potiphar's wife went to her husband, Potiphar, and said, "This slave that you hired, Joseph, he is terrible. You need to get rid of him." So that's what Potiphar had to do. He had to send Joseph to prison, his best worker. How frustrated Joseph must have been going to prison for something that he did not do wrong. But he trusted in God that was what his plan was for him, right? And God blessed his time in prison there too. When Joseph was in prison, this is where the dreams come in. First of all, he was such a good and responsible person there too, that he was put in charge of some things there too, over some of the other prisoners. And he was given the ability to tell dreams in prison too. There were two men who had dreams in prison that the Bible tells us about. And we talked a little bit about it yesterday. One of them was a cupbearer, the man who brings the drink to Pharaoh. He was in prison, and he said, "Joseph, can you tell me what this dream means? This was a crazy dream. I was making my drink for Pharaoh, and all of a sudden 3 branches came out when I was squeezing the grapes to make the drink." And Joseph said, "Here's what your dream means. It means that in 3 days, you're going to be back at your job. You're going to be out of prison. You're going to be working for Pharaoh again. And when you get out of prison, remember me. Remember that I told you this dream." And so the cupbearer said, "Yes, I'm going to be back out. I'm going to get out of prison, have my job back. Thank you, Joseph." And there was another man, a baker, right? The baker said, "Hey, Joseph, I had a dream too. Can you tell me what it means?" So the baker said, "I was making bread and I had 3 baskets of bread on my head. And all of a sudden the birds came and were eating the bread out of my baskets. Joseph, what does this weird dream mean?" And Joseph said, "Here's what your dream means. In 3 days, you're going to be killed for your crimes. You're going to get punished." And so that's what the message was from God to those men. And so Joseph stayed in prison until one day, Pharaoh had a crazy dream too. The king, here, I'll change the picture. Here's Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, right? He had a crazy dream too. And the cupbearer, he remembered that Joseph in prison could tell dreams. So he said to Pharaoh, "Hey, I know of a man who can tell you what your dreams mean. His name is Joseph and he's in prison." So Pharaoh said, "Go get him. Bring him here. I want to know what this dream means." So Joseph got taken out of prison. He got to change into clean clothes. He got to have a nice shower, and he got to go before the king. And so the king said to Joseph, "Here's what my crazy dream was. I need you to tell me what it means." And remember that picture yesterday with all the cows? Here's what Pharaoh's dream was. He said, "I had 7 fat cows and 7 skinny cows. And all of a sudden, the skinny ones ate the fat ones, but they didn't get any bigger. Isn't that so weird? What could this possibly mean?" So Joseph said, "Here's what it means. Egypt, your country, is going to have 7 good years for food. The crops are going to go great. You'll have plenty of food for your people. But then 7 bad years for food are going to come. There's not going to be any rain. The crops are not going to grow good. And you're not going to have enough food for those 7 years. So you should probably put someone in charge to save up some food for those 7 bad years." And Pharaoh was so thankful. He said, "This is such good advice. Joseph, I want you to be the man to save up food for those 7 bad years. I want you to be my right-hand man, be next to me, help me save up." And so that's what Joseph did. He suddenly, excuse me, he went from being a prisoner to the right-hand man of Egypt. He was in charge of the country next to the king. How amazing, right? That's how God blessed Joseph so much. Also, Joseph gave all the credit to God. He didn't say, "Oh yeah, I can tell you what your dreams mean. I give it to me. I know what to do." No, he said, "God will give me the power to tell you what it is. So go ahead and tell me. God will tell me." So how amazing was that? He was letting his light shine. He was telling about God through his everyday life, right? And so Joseph was given gold jewelry. He was given fancy clothes. So he suddenly was a rich man, going from a slave to in prison to having all this power. That is how God delivered Joseph throughout his story. And God will always deliver us and promise us that our struggles are not for no reason either, right? God has a plan for us, just like God had a plan for Joseph. And just imagine, if Joseph had never gone to prison, he would have never met the cupbearer, who was the man who told Pharaoh about Joseph. So if he had never gone to prison and met the cupbearer, he never could have been put in charge and gotten this awesome job of being second in command of Egypt. How amazing is that? So today, for your assignment, you can go to Wednesday. Your coloring sheet shows how Joseph went through a lot of changes. Oops. Here's their page. You see 3 different Josephs here, right? They're all the same. But I would like you to color it in 3 different ways, okay? I'll show you the finished one. First, I want you to color Joseph in prison. So, color his clothes not very fancy, and I want you to put some lines to show that he was behind bars in prison. So the first Joseph is going to be Joseph in prison. The second Joseph is going to be him when he was a servant for Potiphar. So the second one is when he's a servant with Potiphar. You can color his clothes medium colors. But then the last Joseph, this is going to be the Joseph that's in charge of Egypt. The rich Joseph who is next to the king, right? I want you to color his clothes very fancy. You can see it's small, but you can see there's a ring on Joseph's finger. You can put a fancy ring on Joseph's finger. You can put a fancy jewelry on Joseph. He's going to be the most blessed version of Joseph, right? When he was in charge. So today, I would like you to upload your 3 Joseph picture to the Yellow Religion folder, your last Bible assignment for the week. And I hope you have a great weekend, a great long weekend. I will see you later today for Read Aloud and Art Project. Bye.